Hey traders, welcome back to another Sunday video getting ready for the week ahead. In this video, we'll be taking a look at some trading setups that I'm looking at, as well as current positions that I'm already in. As we get started, if you could do me a big favor, help to support my YouTube channel by dropping a like on this video. It is very much appreciated and really helps me out. So thank you very much for doing that. And as we get started, just wanted to show you an updated all-time performance of my trading account. This builds credibility and makes you know you're not wasting your time listening to my rants. And I say that because not all trading content creators do this. And I think it's very, very important that you know you're not wasting your time in the selection that you make of who you spend your time watching and learning from. Year to date it's been a good trading year, not an exceptional trading year for me. I'm up 12.5% so far this year with some time to go. I've had some dips along the way. It's been, again, not my most impressive trading year, and there's been some frustrations this year for sure. But overall, the account is doing quite well. On this account, we're up $292,000 since about 2020. It is not the only trading account that I have, but it's the one that I keep the most public. So with that said, let's go ahead and jump into some trading setups. I'm going to be talking about what I'm watching here. You just saw here on the opening, I am currently long the NASDAQ through the QQQ ETF, which is just an ETF for US traders, up about $11,000 on this position. And I do think that this one has room to continue higher. We'll talk about the NASDAQ. We'll talk about indices as well as the S&P, Dow Jones, etc. We'll also talk about gold in this video. We'll talk about the dollar. We'll talk about where the state of the Forex world is right now and much, much more. So, okay, let's start here with the indices. And again, we'll make our way. You can skip ahead in the video if you want to look at things like gold or the US dollar, Bitcoin, etc. I'll be covering a lot of stuff here today. But I want to talk about, first of all, where I start with in my trading, outlook for the week ahead. I always start right here, the top setups page on the edgefinder. Now, what is the edgefinder? The edgefinder is a data scanning software that helps me spot the opportunities that I trade. And why should you care? Well, again, I showed you why. I'm not making this stuff up. This is truly what I use to help spot the opportunities that I trade on a day-to-day basis. So what am I looking for as we go into this week? Well, we've got continued readings on the edgefinder to stay bullish on the NASDAQ, Bitcoin, DAX, the Dow Jones, US oil, copper, SPX, dollar CAD. All right, so I didn't mention all of the listed items here because what I personally do is I actually like to take out minor currency pairs from the edgefinder's source list. So now here is pretty much my watch list for this week. So this is where we're going to spend the majority of our time on this video. We're going to go through the current watch list items for the edgefinder. Now, why am I doing this? Well, because this is what I do every single day. Now, why? Well, the bullish and bearish readings that we're getting from here on the edgefinder are coming from, let's list them off, the Commitment of Traders report, retail sales data, seasonal trends observed in the market, trend, meaning momentum, GDP, manufacturing PMIs, services PMIs, retail sales numbers, CPI or inflation, employment change, unemployment rate, and interest rates. All of these things we've deemed, and when I say we, I mean the team behind this product, have deemed this to be a list of some of the most important critical pieces to analyzing both the fundamentals, sentiment, and technical readings within the market. So when I look at this, we know that the algorithm is looking at all these different data points for us, generating bullish and bearish signals respectively, and ultimately creating a watch list. Keeping this really simple, this is how I find my trading setups. I start with the edgefinder, I then look at this. Now I'm going to start taking a look at some of the charts. And we can go into some of these detailed reports, and I do that throughout the week. If you watch my videos, every time these scores are changing, I'm going through and just checking the numbers, seeing what the readings were. And we're not going to dive too deep into that right now. Let's keep it high level for this video so that we can start knocking out some charts for the week ahead. And let's just go down the list. Let's take a look first at the Dow Jones. The Dow Jones is, of course, the US stock market full of some of the big blue chip companies. These are your Apples and your Walmarts and just boring, big, stable companies. Well, they've been doing quite well. And when we take a look at the Dow Jones, we are looking a bit overextended, but that does not mean that the trend cannot continue. It simply means for me, this is an overextended chart. I can't buy up here. However, if we do get pullbacks this week, perhaps we look for some opportunities around the 38.2% retracement level. I do like this chart quite a bit, and with an edgefinder reading of plus 10, it's looking really good. Let's move on to the next one, because that one's pretty simple. Let's take a look at the DAX. So this is not one that I trade too often, but we'll take a look at German 40 here, or the this is of course the German stock market, which has also been on a tear here. Didn't quite take this. I wish that I did. This was such a pretty setup. Edgefinder had a bullish reading, pulled back into this area. I chose to take other trades, which actually worked out as well, but this was a beautiful one. Pulled back into this 38.2% retracement. The 19,000 level held beautifully and popped off of that. So how do I take these potential trades? Well, here's the thing. Either we see a break of momentum looking for bullish setups, or we pull back into this support zone. I'm looking at bullish opportunities around that 19,000 level to see if we can get them. So I do like the DAX as well. Really clean chart here, and I'm loving the indices this year. The year has been very, very good for, basically it's been a bull run year, and there's been a lot of opportunities and a lot of gains to be made riding this bull market. And so if you've been catching some of those trends, the Edgefinder has been pretty dang spot on two things this year: gold and indices. Been very, very accurate. Next up is Bitcoin. Bitcoin is getting a bullish reading on the Edgefinder. So let's go take a look at Bitcoin. Take a look at Bitcoin. Here's the thing. Although this is a good example of where the Edgefinder is not a holy grail money printing machine. I wish it was. It'd make my life a little bit easier. But it certainly is a wonderful scanning tool. That being said, we're getting a bullish reading in the context of something that I don't love, which is just a choppy, slow grinding downward trend on the Bitcoin daily chart. That being said, if we can start breaking this downward structure, and perhaps we're getting close to that if we see price make a push up to the top of this range and actually start to give us a bit of a breakout, this could be an opportunity for me to look for some long positions in the market of Bitcoin, looking for a continuation. And if we start breaking this structure, guys, we very well may see this thing start to crawl its way back to that all-time high and potentially start to break it, especially with the state of kind of risk on assets in general in the market right now, with the NASDAQ, S&P, those things hitting highs. I think it's very possible that that optimism spills over into Bitcoin, and we could see a larger secular resumption of the big break to the upside that we saw in 2023. So I'm watching Bitcoin very close. I do think that in 2025, things considered right now, if things continue to be looking good, that this could be a really bullish opportunity. Now, that's again taking into consideration a lot of the economic figures, which lo and behold actually do very much impact Bitcoin. Let's take a look at my favorite thing to trade in the whole world. It's the NASDAQ. The NASDAQ's getting a +7 on the Edgefinder, so we go take a look at this. And speaking of the NASDAQ, we started out the video. I am currently already long this one. I showed you that QQQ chart, which is an ETF that tracks the NASDAQ. You can see it's the same chart, just little more choppy with the gaps that occur due to the stock market being open a narrower amount of time than the futures market. That being said, NASDAQ still looks good to me. I'm up on this trade so far. What I'm looking for here is a break through these highs in order to start trailing my stop. I could even look to potentially add size to my trade if we do see a bit of a break and retest here. Perhaps also the same concept could resume from here. I'm looking for this bullish chart to just continue. If it does not, if it reverses, then I will probably, well, I do know where I'll stop out. I'll stop out below these lows. And again, we can see that on the QQQ chart where I'm currently long. So if we take out those lows, I'll take profits. I'll take a loss on this position. But if we can start breaking through these highs, I'll start trailing a stop loss on my existing position in the NASDAQ, which I do think we have the potential to see. Why? Well, the Fed's cutting rates, company earnings have been pretty good. And specifically for those of you guys who are stock market people, we had the financial companies start to report their earnings last week. And Friday was a big up day for financial stocks because bank earnings looked pretty promising. So that's something to consider if you're an index trader. This is a ETF XLF, which is a financials ETF, meaning it's a bunch of financial stocks in one basket, basically. They did really well on Friday. That helped to buoy the market higher. NASDAQ's not as heavy on the financials side, so it didn't quite see as much of a boost. That being said, I do think that technology has the potential to have a good earnings report as a whole coming into the next few months, and I'll be watching that really, really close. So I do like the NASDAQ quite a bit. Also, I want to take a moment just to pause here. If you're somebody watching the video right now and you're like, Nick, this edgefinder thing is pretty cool, where can I get a copy? Well, I got something for you. Down below in the description, use code YTVIP. There will be a link in promo in the description to get access to the edgefinder. This is the tool that I use every single day to take the trades that I take. It is an incredibly useful tool to have all of the data in front of you. I haven't even gotten into all the other tools that are within the edgefinder, but we will take a look in just a moment. For example, at the commitment of traders data, which will show us what institutional money bought and sold on a week-to-week basis. Or you could use the put-to-call ratio, retail sentiment, the investor sentiment surveys that we've done, seasonality tools, economic data like GDP, labor statistics like NFP reports and such, all in easy to function charts. If you don't have a copy of the edgefinder, again, I wrote it on the screen a second ago, YTVIP. Use that at checkout. It will give you a significant YouTube VIP subscriber. As you can see, YTVIP. We've named it creatively, and that is a big thank you for supporting my channel just by watching. I greatly appreciate it. I understand that a lot of people don't intend on purchasing the tools that we build, but my company, A1 Trading, we work real hard at building some quality stuff for serious traders, and if you are one of them, there is your chance. YTVIP will give you a nice discount at checkout. All right, let's push on. So do like the NASDAQ. Nikkei, that's the Japanese stock market. Let's have a look at what's going on with the Japanese stock market. This one looks good too. Chart's looking strong. I actually was bearish for a little while there, but against my judgment, we started to see price action continue to trend higher. We've been seeing higher lows and higher highs on this chart. And, here's where I see the Nikkei going. I see the Nikkei making a push right back to the highs. We've got bullish readings on the edgefinder. It may, chop around in between. We may see some volatility, but I do think that the path of least resistance here is continued to the upside. If I'm taking a look at this and I'm saying, I could just put a simple trend line here. Really what I'm seeing here is that we're testing up against the upper limits of this. Let me make this a little bit smaller. We're testing up against the upper limits here. If we see something like this, break, retest this week, could actually be an opportunity to kind of trade that way back up into this range. Now, let me pause really quick and just mention something about my strategy, my thought process in the markets. I am an educated guesser in the markets. I don't know with certainty where anything is going, and nobody you're watching on YouTube does. Nobody anywhere knows with certainty what's going to happen in the future of the world, and not least of which the markets. Now, why do I say that? Well, because I like these ideas that I'm mapping out, but these aren't certainties. If I take these trades, I'm risking appropriately. I'm taking small money bets relative to my account. They're, good sized bets, but they're relative to the account. They're not huge, in order to try and let that edge play out, in order to, find good opportunities, trail stops, etc. So I do like the Nikkei. I'm watching it. Let's keep going. Let's take a look at copper, which copper here is an interesting thing. Copper is a unique play because the global economy is very in demand of copper when it's booming and lesser so when it's not. Recently, copper's telling you something. Copper is trending up. Why could that be? Well, one thing recently has been Chinese stocks have been flying high on stimulus stuff going on in China. The Chinese central bank is talking about more stimulus, trying to get their stock market back online. It's been in a beaten down state for many years. The Chinese stock market's been a rough place to invest. Recently, they're trying to change that. The Chinese, central bank and government are trying to bring back investors, both foreign and domestic, as well as stimulate the economy by, reducing regulations and putting more money into their system, essentially, just like the U.S. is trying to or seems to be doing with the cutting of interest rates as well. Monetary easing is not just a U.S. thing or Western world thing. It is also, of course, happening in China right now to try and boost their economy. Now, when we go back to copper, again, a resurgence in Chinese, economy stuff could be very bullish for copper as well as oil, which we'll get to in just a moment. But when we see this, we saw a nice pullback on copper. We pulled back to the 38.2% retracement, didn't quite get to the 50% retracement. But we came down into this area. Buyers seem to have stepped in, and a nice kind of 4-bar move here. 1, 2 moves down, like a strong sell-off. Then 2 green days here. Real strong, nice bounce. I actually think that copper has the potential to make a squeeze back up to the highs. I'd be looking for possible pullbacks intra-week within some lower time frames to possibly get some setups going on this one. Take a look at the 4-hour chart. You've got a nice little break above this structure point here. Pullbacks into this area I do like for possible longs. That being said, let me caution on actual positions that I'll take on this one. Actually, I'll pause for just a moment and mention something. So any trades that I actually end up taking will be linked down below in the description. If you join our Discord channel, you'll have to join the paid room if you'd like to get access to my signals. But again, as I opened up this video, I show you guys my track record for a singular purpose, not to waste your time, to show credibility with what I'm sharing with you. If you would like to come trade alongside myself and my team, we share all of our trades in full detail, breakdowns, entries, exits, all notified directly to your phone or to your desktop through the Discord app. We do have a free version to join. It doesn't allow you to see the trades being taken, but you get analysis within that, which is free. And if you'd like to get actual trades sent to your phone, that same code that I mentioned earlier, YTVIP, will get you a nice discount off of the memberships as well. That will be linked in the description down below. Now, I want to just take a pause. Sometimes people get all weird about like, oh my gosh, Nick, I thought you were a trader. Why are you selling something? What we're selling here is backed by real results, no nonsense, no BS. I'm a businessman. I'm a trader. You're not wasting your time if you join our group. We do this stuff for real. We are also traders, and we make money doing that. So again, it is a small fee to pay if you're going to get in there and learn a ton of stuff and trade alongside me and my team. So come join us if you have not already. But again, I do that because not a lot of people are transparent when they are selling to you on YouTube. I will always be transparent with you. I will tell you exactly what I'm doing. I'm selling you a service that is worth the money, backed by results, and you get involved. So I'm making money doing that. I'm making money doing trading. So as long as we're on the same page, if that is something you appreciate, I would encourage you to consider joining the group. Anyways, let's keep going. I talked about oil for a second. Let's take a look. Oil, big pullback here this past week. I actually ended up taking a position. So oil is a trade. I mentioned I already have some exposure to commodities. I'm up about $1,000 on this position. Oil came back down into this level of support. I like to do my analysis on the futures version or the CFD oil just because I think the chart looks a little bit cleaner. But anyways, I ended up picking up this trade here, and just as an example of what we were just discussing, let's go take a look at what the trade looked like when I initially took it. So here's the full breakdown. I was mentioning Chinese stocks. I wrote up to members that the Chinese stock market sell-off seems like a healthy pullback still, unless proven otherwise. But I've got some good reasons for wanting to be long oil. There's stuff happening in the Middle East, which could continue to buoy prices higher for oil based on supply concerns. If there is, increased conflict in the Middle East, which we don't hope for, but it is of course a risk to the market right now. Chinese stocks, big sell-off, but in an environment where I think the global economy still looks decently strong. U.S. economic data has been especially strong or upbeat recently, which could continue to boost demand for oil. So anyways, I took this trade, shared the analysis, and we just trailed stops or trimmed stops here to reduce risk on the position. So I do like oil for the week ahead. I think that we do have potential to go back and retest these highs here. And if that breaks out, then we may be headed up to the upper limits of resistance here recently, which I would put right around that $84 a barrel mark. So watching oil real close as we go into this week. Next up, we'll take a look at SPX500. So if we take a look at the S&P 500 here, similar to the Dow Jones and the NASDAQ, this thing's been drifting higher. I do think that this thing wants to just kind of continue into year end. We may see some pullbacks along the way though. So if I'm looking at this and I'm seeing, okay, we've got some support right around this area. If you do get pullbacks here within the next week or two, that could be an opportunity, in my opinion, to continue the bull story this year from levels of support if you get those pullbacks. So watching the S&P with a bullish perspective, looking for pullbacks if we get them. USDCAD is the next one. This is one of two currency pairs here that I'm really watching. USDCAD, big push to the upside, not really at a level where I can take a trade, but if we do get a pullback, and that could happen in the next week or two, probably that 50% retracement where we have big support right around that area, something that I'm watching going into this week. So dollar CAD is on the radar, and we finally have Euro USD, which Euro dollar got a pretty strong -7 reading on this one. So possible shorts if we can get a push back up into this area. You can see I've already got my chart marked up. We broke, bit of a double top resistance point here. Big sell-off, came down, broke through support. If we get a retest of that support, it could, in my view, act as resistance. And, the U.S. economy, in my opinion, and according to not just my opinion, but our system, is favoring the U.S. over Europe right now, based on a couple different key metrics. Retail sales stronger in the United States, inflation statistics looking a little stickier in the U.S., which could lead to the dollar seeing slower rate cuts from the Fed, which is bullish for the dollar. And I do think that right now you might continue to see a little bit of dollar upside. And we'll go take a look at the dollar just to add some context to that. We're looking at the dollar index now. And what you can see here is we've had this downtrend for months break out to the upside. A little bit of strength coming in here. If you get pullbacks, I like those for possible opportunities. I've already showed you the pairs that I'm looking at specifically. Euro USD shorts, dollar CAD longs. Those are ideas that I personally like at the levels that I just denoted in my commentary there. So those are some things that I'm looking out for. As we go through this, as we finish out today, I wanted to also mention something. If you're looking for a better brokerage, I've got some free game for you down below in the description. If you choose to change into a new brokerage, if you're looking for a new brokerage, all of the ones in the description offer very special sign-up perks that are completely free to you, but help out my channel. So let me just mention something. If you'd like to trade directly on TradingView, all of the brokers linked in the description will allow you to trade directly on TradingView like I do, which is an incredibly convenient thing. Not only that, they're all regulated brokerages, so you're not messing around with offshore sketchy stuff. And finally, each one of them has unique offers. For example, some of them have sign-up bonuses. Other ones have free shares when you join, like Webull, for example. And others, you can even get some of our products for free. So all the information is in the description down below. Thank you very much for watching. Have a great trading week ahead. Trade safe. We'll see you next time.